On April 23, 2006, a man was standing on a street in Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine. He was wearing an old Soviet military uniform and holding a vintage camera. His movements were strange and unsettling, like a German visiting Israel in a swastika uniform. People gave him uncomfortable looks, which only made him more uneasy. After a while, the police approached him and asked if he had any ID, hoping to assist him. The man took out his identification and handed it over. After examining it, the officers looked at each other in astonishment. The ID belonged to a country that no longer existed, the Soviet Union. Sergei Ponomarenko is the protagonist of one of the most intriguing time travel stories circulating on the internet. In fact, many consider it the most convincing time travel case ever recorded. As a result, it has captured the attention of those fascinated by time travel theories. Here are the details of the story and the facts behind the event. In 2006, a man was seen in Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine. He was looking at the tall buildings and streets in amazement. His astonished expression, old-fashioned clothing, and the vintage camera around his neck, dating back to the early 1900s, caught the attention of patrolling police officers. The man approached one of the officers and asked how to get to Pekalova Street and if he could help him. When the officer replied that no such street existed, the man insisted that it was in the Lyivka district and repeated his request for directions. Since the officers were unfamiliar with the address, they decided to take him to the police station. The man was dressed in 1950s Soviet-style clothing and carrying a very old swastika camera. His identification papers were also from the 1950s, and he identified himself as Sergei Ponomarenko, born in 1932. Initially, the authorities assumed he was a confused individual. However, they were even more astonished when they heard his story. According to Sergei, while walking through the streets of Kyiv in 1958, he saw a strange object in the sky. The next thing he knew, he had suddenly found himself in 2006. The vintage swastika camera that Sergei had with him became one of the most crucial pieces of the case. The police immediately examined the camera and confirmed that it was an old model, discontinued since the 1970s. They also found that the film inside could only be developed by an expert. Police quickly sent the film to specialists for analysis. One expert noted that the film was surprisingly well preserved and began developing the photographs. The images that emerged were astonishing. Street scenes of Kyiv from the 1950s, photographs of Sergei with a young woman, and an image of a strange object in the sky that resembled a UFO. Sergei, of course, was wearing the exact same clothes he had on when he approached the police for directions. Film experts confirmed that the photographs were indeed from an old film and showed no signs of digital manipulation. Did this mean that Sergei was truly a time traveler? Authorities questioned Sergei's mental health and placed him in a psychiatric clinic. However, during his stay, he continued to discuss his time travel theories with the doctors. Most intriguingly, Sergei Ponomarenko suddenly vanished from his room after some time. Security camera footage showed no sign of him leaving. It was as if he had simply disappeared into thin air. The police also analyzed historical records and began investigating the woman's scene with Sergei. Eventually, they discovered that her name was Valentina. In 2006, they managed to contact Valentina, who was 70 years old, and asked her about Sergei. Her response once again left them stunned. She confirmed that she had been his girlfriend and that Sergei had mysteriously disappeared in 1958. His family had even reported him missing. Further revealed that the last time she saw him, he was wearing the same clothes and had a camera of the same brand hanging around his neck. the exact same items Sergei had with him in 2006. Shocked by this discovery, the police conducted further investigations into Sergei. In 1960, he participated in a radio program where he stated, "I have news for you from the future. In the future, people will use ovens to heat their food." He also spoke about telephones and high-rise buildings. His knowledge of such concepts was also captured on the clinic's security cameras as he flipped through magazines while waiting for the doctor. 2 years later, Valentina received a letter. Inside was a photograph of Sergei standing in front of tall buildings. Strangely, he appeared to be the same age as when he had disappeared. So, is this all just a myth or a conspiracy theory? The story of Sergei Ponomarenko was first broadcast by the Russian television program The Paranormal Files. However, there are no official documents, police reports, or independent investigations that confirm its authenticity. Do you think Sergei could have traveled through time? Do you believe time travel is possible? Share your thoughts and opinions in the comments. But first, let's take a deeper look at time travel from a scientific perspective. Scientists are exploring various fields, such as relativity theory, quantum mechanics, and cosmology, to understand the nature of time and investigate whether time travel is possible. While Isaac Newton viewed time as an absolute and universal concept, Albert Einstein's special theory of relativity, 1905, and general theory of relativity, 1915, demonstrated that time is not absolute and is influenced by physical factors such as mass and speed. According to special relativity, time dilation, an object moving relative to an observer will experience time more slowly compared to a stationary observer. Similarly, a person traveling at speeds close to the speed of light will age more slowly than their twin who remains on Earth. According to general relativity, time passes more slowly in the presence of massive objects, such as black holes, due to their intense gravitational pull. One of the biggest challenges in time travel theories is that they face both logical and physical paradoxes. For example, according to the grandfather paradox, if someone travels back in time and prevents their grandfather from having children, they would never be born, creating a logical contradiction. The paradox of closed time curves and self-consistent loops suggests that traveling to the past can only result in self-consistent events, meaning the past cannot be altered. Some physicists argue that any actions taken in the past must be consistent with the future that already exists. To address such paradoxes, Stephen Hawking proposed the chronology protection conjecture, which suggests that the laws of physics prevent time travel to the past. Finally, there is the quantum multiverse theory. In quantum mechanics, it is proposed that parallel universes emerge for every possible event. If a time traveler were to go back in time and change something, they would not alter their original timeline, but instead create or move into a parallel universe where the change has taken place. In summary, traveling to the future is possible within the framework of relativity theory and has been experimentally confirmed through time dilation. However, traveling to the past remains purely theoretical and faces numerous physical challenges. As a result, with our current scientific understanding, time travel is not yet practically possible. However, advancements in fields such as quantum mechanics and general relativity may lead to new discoveries in the future. Thus, time travel is not merely a subject of science fiction. It remains one of the most intriguing and unresolved questions in modern physics.